I was born in a shotgun shack. Isn't that a Rolling Stone
I was
song?
born in the backseat of a Greyhound bus.
Ooh, you Allman Brothered me. I think I was Rolling Stoning you.
Welcome to the edge of nowhere.
They're playing games at the edges of what we know.
Monster Lore Tour Podcast.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this 58th episode of the Monster Lore Tour Paranormal Deep Dives from the Edge of Nowhere podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Carr, here along with my co-host and the great owl to my Mrs. Brisby, Matt Ozero, a.k.a. the MOZ. How we doing today, MOZ?
No complaints.
Are you a fan of the Secrets of Nim?
No. I mean, I know the name.
No?
I know the name.
Oh, man. MOZ, a guy like you with your ancient cartoon theory thing.
Yeah, I gotta look into that. I feel like a Nimrod right now.
It's a very shamanic story. You're going to have to watch that.
I will do so.
I'm pretty sure Mrs. Brisby is a full-on shaman.
Is Nimrod in it?
Nimrod?
Yeah, well, he was a historical figure.
There's a crow named Jeremy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
another reason.
I think that's part of why I love that movie so
watch it.
much.
No, okay. I've heard the Secrets of Nim. I don't know the Secrets of Nim. Yeah.
You will once you watch the movie.
Yeah. Then
Yeah.
I won't be a Nimrod.
There you go.
Sounds good.
There you go.
Cool.
All right, so we will put that down on Moz's homework list there.
Yeah.
And I did watch it again recently. Holds up. Still a great movie. And it's
awesome.
short, so like you can watch it quick. It's great.
Nice.
But
With ancient tune implications.
oh, totally, dude. Like
Nice.
you're going to need to do a segment on that after you watch it, I think.
Awesome.
It's going to fit right in there with your
Nonsense.
wild things and Bugs Bunny and
Yeah.
Stewie Cthulhu and all that. Stu Thulu. That's, yeah. Go back for the compilation. We had let's see, when does this come out? 5 weeks after the compilation, I think. So scroll back a little bit and you'll see the
Scroll
Moz's
back.
compilation episode from our summer break.
Nice.
But you got any old business before we get into the full thing?
I do.
Okay. What do you got?
I can't believe I didn't let this. I let this pass in the moment. Ketchup to my hot dog. You never put ketchup on a hot dog. Did I say anything about that? I feel like I just let that go.
You did make me explain that. I forget exactly how the conversation went, but I did explain that it was because of Heinz 57. It was the 57th episode.
So I was
did
complaining. Was I complaining about the ketchup on the hot dog itself, or just the Freudian implications?
I don't know. You complain so much that I lose track.
Yeah, we have to have old business catch up with all my complaints.
Don't put ketchup
If
on
I
a hot
did
dog.
forget, don't put ketchup on hot. That's all I want. Kids
That is true. Mustard and relish only,
and sauerkraut.
and other things. But
Yeah.
as far
Yeah,
as
and
like the
onions.
straight condiments go,
Yeah, no, you don't need ketchup.
no ketchup.
Yep, with you.
You ever put mayonnaise on a hot dog?
No, I'll put it on a hamburger a little bit, but no.
I'm sure there's somewhere in the world that they put mayonnaise on hot dogs.
Probably
Somewhere in the Midwest, I'm imagining.
It seems like a German thing too.
Well, yeah, there's Missouri, man, built by Germans.
No,
Saxtown Axe Murders,
there you go.
episode 37. I might be wrong on that. It's back there somewhere.
Usually right on, spot on with these.
Yeah, we went on summer break. I kind of lost it a little bit. I got to study back up.
All right.
But anywho, we're here for week 3 of Owl Week for some monstrous owl stuff, and I actually have a quote for you to get things started, Moz. I know how you like the mood-setting quotes at the beginning of your episodes.
Yes, I do.
So I brought one for you. You want to hear it?
Yes. The one I slaved over will just skip then.
I'm gonna do my ominous voice.
It's called a mice breaker in the Owl Week episode.
I don't know if this is gonna come out Batman or Igor, but here we go. There are owls here, staring deep into abysmal canyons, feeding on scraps of life in the deepest darknesses.
You kind of went on that. That was good.
How's that, huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Mine's good. I was just going to do that Tootsie Pop thing again, so I'm glad. But anyway, this is...
I wrote that myself for you, Moz.
Oh, so this is a you quoted.
That's in my little magic notebook right here.
I was going to ask where it's from.
It's from me.
Wow.
Walking my dog at 3 a.m.
Nice.
and thinking about owls because of Moz.
Yeah.
So that's for you, buddy.
We think a lot about owls lately. We've learned a lot about owls, and we have a lot of owl stories now.
Yeah.
That people are going to be like, oh, yeah, sure, you just made up out. No, we have some interesting us files coming soon. Almost... some of them very important stories for us personally.
So last time I was here recording, they showed up.
Yeah. No, that's one of them. Don't tell it. Because that's on our us file.
I won't go any more into it, but I'm wondering if we're going to add another story today because we're recording about owls in your hermit cave again.
That's true.
And apparently I'd never seen, we spent so much time recording here other things, and as soon as we start getting on the owls, they show up. That's weird.
Okay.
Like we had never seen them here.
Well, I'll
Sorry,
say
I'm
more
giving stuff
about
away.
that.
We're saving that for later.
I'll say more about that next time.
Little teaser there for you.
But this is a standalone episode, by the way, in the middle of Owl Week. If you have not seen, please, you should probably check out our Owl Mythos episode before you attempt a 200-level Owl Theory course. But this one, if you just want to hang out and learn about an owl witchy woman, this is the place to do it. It's a standalone. And you might not want to stand alone tonight, though. You might want to bring someone slower than you or something. Yep. It gets a little weird. But if you did miss the Owl Mythos episode, here's the Cliffy Barrackman notes. Owl symbols fall into these categories globally, nearly universally globally, by the way. Owl is death omen. Owl is evil spirit. Owl is weather forecaster. Owl is messenger. Owl hanging around the crossroads. Owl as psychopomp, leading souls to and from, mostly to, the land of the dead, which is also my favorite George Romero film. But, I think
nice.
But we kind of found those themes were the ones that kept popping up the most. For location, wherever you find owls, you'll find the witchy owl variety, also known as Lechuza. That's what they call her in these parts. Lechuza generally stalks the U.S. Southwest and Mexico, but we, as usual, have a larger flight pattern in store, and we'll touch on all things witchy owl today.
Oh, yeah. I like that it kind of comes back to the home base, though. I like when we do that.
Yeah, we're not far from where this creature is sighted often. The range of this creature, dimension-wise, goes from owl-sized to human-sized. Owl-sized sometimes with the face of an old woman, or larger, and more menacing versions are also common. There's also reports of Lechuza being more raven-like, so owl-adjacent. Several ornithoids come into the mix. No surprise when talking about owl-sorcery or shapeshifting. Sometimes the sightings are associated with unusually large owls, as we saw in Big Hoot last time.
That's a big hoot.
Most of the Big Hoot stuff, I had a real tough time not being able to shift into this bucket, because they tended to be cryptoidy and witchy woman-y. A lot of them, anyway.
Yeah,
that strange.
The whole thing with none of them just being an owl. They were like owl-ish.
First we saw a large owl, and then, it goes into the Cleland UFO, or it goes into the shape-shifting shaman, or if it goes into the skin
walker.
It ends up going all over the map sometimes. And so does this creature. Accounts in this region date back to around 1820, and essentially this cryptoid seems almost a variation of a skin
walker.
Lechuza is believed to be an old woman steeped in black magic and cursed to roam the night in owl form, or just a being of power who enjoys tormenting her neighbors. Many fear the cry of Lechuza, which may once again tie into existing global mythic themes, namely the big one, a death portent.
So she's kind of werewolfish, like person during the day and owl at night?
Yeah, we're even going to talk about the transformation at different times that seem to be, some of them seem to be more wolf-like, and the way it transforms, where it actually spits up its intestines, its soul. Yeah, it's awful. Like we'll get to it. Oh yeah, fun stuff in store.
This is going to be the Moningal all over again.
Your dinner's already fully digested.
Nightmares tonight. Thanks, Moz.
But many fear the cry of the Lechuza, and dreaming about Lechuza is believed to be a bad portent as well, or again, a death portent, or, all those other, those owl symbolisms we just kind of went through. I found on paranormalauthority.com in the show notes that there is a belief that these are not lone wolves, such as the skin
Walker.
but one can find, quote, an entire cabal of women who have the ability to shapeshift into owls, so there's a chance that they could hunt in packs.
Oh, boy.
Reminds me of the Manangal filling the skies over Capiz with half women, half bat creatures.
You do see families of the great horned owls. So some owls do, I believe, hunt in groups like that, like they're a family unit kind of thing.
Well, I would say that the norm and what I've heard most of the time is they're generally lone wolves, but you're absolutely right. At a time that they and we will get to that because the owls you saw and the owls in this neighborhood, there's a time that they stay together and they hunt together, and I think they go off. I think that's maybe a process.
Oh, it's a rearing thing.
Maybe it's a rearing thing.
Because they take care of their young until they're able to go do it themselves.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So some of the Lechuza origins, or, I think that's my favorite X-Men film too, by the way. But she has a ton of origin legends kind of all over the map, from the conquistadors raiding Mexico to New Mexican bruja to Native American shaman. No matter what you call her, you probably shouldn't call her, I think is my guess.
Don't call her.
Don't call her. One legend says she was a curandera, a healer practicing white magic, who was wronged in some way. Her child was killed, or she was unjustly accused of something and off by the locals, after which she returns as a bruja, or witch, to avenge from the grave. She's not unlike those Middle Eastern counterparts we talked about, those avenging owl spirits.
Yeah, that's a very kind of tropey story, yeah.
Another theory, a woman murdered by her lover or killed her own children, kind of La Llorona-esque. Another theory, a woman who so steeped in black magic that when she died, she lived on as a giant owl with a woman's face. Totally night shifty. That fourth incarnation we talked about. If you're a shaman, you turn into your totem sometimes. If you're a dark one, maybe you're stuck there. Maybe you don't even get to choose.
Yeah. When they pass, they choose whether they move on to the next world or stay in this one as their yak, right?
Yeah, we read that. I'm trying to think what the quote was. I'm trying to think if that was spec. But anyway, bottom line is maybe I can dig that up. But fourth incarnation of a shaman, some tribes believe that you get to choose to live on into your totem, or you get to pass on into the happy hunting grounds kind of thing. But there's also a variation between third and fourth shift we talked about, wherein the witch can assume the form of an owl by projecting herself into the creature, not becoming the creature, having a totem. It's more of that, what was it, Pogo and
Beastmaster.
Beastmaster, thank you. For this version or legend, if you manage to kill it, the sleeping witch dies as well. And there's also that old Wolfman trope analogy where if you injure it, you can find the person the next day.
Oh, so they keep the wound when they change back.
Correct.
So they're bad. That's the symbol of them being bad, right? Because the good ones lose the wound when they change.
I'm not 100% sure of that.
Okay.
So I don't know why you try to wound a good one unless it's a mistaken identity.
The bad ones wound the good ones.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I also found another potential origin theory at jeffersonmuncie.com, which is also in the show notes, that Lechuza made a deal with the devil, so more Christianized folklore enters into the mix at some point. The more likely story, she's a female shaman gone bad. This is more what I would think, the owl version of what we keep finding in all parts of the world through shamanic power, ritual, and helping totem spirits. Maybe she went bad. Maybe she's just, another Ishtaraksha portal guardian. You got this monster guardian at the threshold, letting people know when they're straying onto the red road. If you're talking about the Sioux or the Lakota. We have a friend who was stalked by a hellhound who we interviewed a couple of episodes back. The episode
Oh, Cisco?
Yep. So, and I'd like to thank that hellhound. So maybe the owl at times is working in that same capacity.
That's the 420 to Yuma episode.
Yes. It's a story about two guys who decide to get stoned and not go to Yuma, which is what we should have.
Smart.
But anyway, that brings us to our first reading. Speaking of origins, here's Mexico Unexplained, splainin' the Lechuza origin.
Some say that the Lechuza snatches kids because her own child was killed by angry villagers for a crime he did not commit. In a variation of this, the child was killed by a drunk And so now the Lechuza exacts revenge by hanging around bars, waiting until closing time to attack bar patrons who stumble out into the street after hours, not knowing the danger from the sky about to rain down on them. In some of the legends, La Lechuza is not a shape-shifting person at all, but a witch's familiar, much like a black cat, and does the bidding of the witch, attacking people and destroying property on her command. Other stories say the bird is a minion of Satan himself. Not only is the Lechuza said to take humans as prey, it also preys upon the negative emotions of humans, acting as a psychic vampire, drawing power from emotions surrounding human conflict and distress. The Lechuza has been known to appear outside of houses during domestic quarrels, waiting for one of the people involved to storm out of the house, to then be snatched and carried to the Lechuza's lair. The Lechuza has a special fondness for children, especially for those who wander away from home after dark.
So that again
That's
from
very bogeyman.
Mexico Unexplained in the show notes. But other theories are merging in there. Is it a yek or a totem? Or is it witch, not witch? Is it the shaman? Is it the good shaman, bad shaman? And that attracted by negativity is another piece. Some say she even hangs around houses where domestic violence is occurring. This kind of ties in, by the way, when Mike Clellan, when we get to him down the road here, another 17 months, we should be done with Owl Week. But it works with owls and UFOs. He finds that the owls, more mystical or alien owls, appear at times of supercharged emotions. Clellan's examples tend to be more positive, soul-searching, and mystical positive. At least more of that seems to be going on. This one seems to be really the darker end, and now it's attracted to some of these supercharged negative emotions.
Yeah.
But there's a number of other witchy owl women throughout Native American folklore. We had a long list of owl mythology for our Native American tribes during the Mythos episode. This is kind of now going to be tailored a little bit more for just the shape-shifting owl variety. But again, Jeremy, one of these is going to be made up for you to identify as usual and potential for winning prizes. But first, we have some etymology stuff. Most sources claim Lechuza is simply a Spanish word for owl, and again, usually a barn owl, Tito alba, but not exclusively. Other owls have been implicated. Barn owls, though, are clearly the main suspect in this tale and this caper tonight.
That makes sense.
And that was from owlnameswashington.edu in the show notes. As the story goes, Lechuza is an old woman who shapeshifts into a giant owl with hilarious consequences. Oh, wait. Terrible consequences. Yeah. One word.
Terrible
one word
sounds
just
better.
changes everything.
I like terrible much better.
But is it Lechuza or La Lechuza? What do you think?
Well, La Lechuza would be the Lechuza, basically. Or it's just Lechuza. I would say Lechuza, like Cher or Madonna. You know what I mean? Like she's a one-name sort of entity.
Right. Well, I saw mostly Lechuza, but a lot. You even read tonight, I think, already a lot Lechuza. So you do come across both, but just Lechuza wisely is what we ask.
Yeah.
A cool etymological tidbit comes from Dr. Emily Zarka over on Monstrum. She ties in the Wendigo to this. Normally, the Algonquin word for Wendigo is associated with cannibalism, as we all learned in grade school.
Yeah.
But she also claims Wendigo means owl. There's a cannibalistic component to owls, as we discussed. Some more ancient owl species were clearly cannibalistic, as they found a number of other owl bones in their dens that were exposed to stomach acid. So also that myth of the young attacking the mother if they're hungry. And some species of owl today, particularly the great horned owl, I believe it's the same dealio. It's not that uncommon. So there's this connection between cannibalism and the owl, connection between the Lechuza and the Wendigo as a result.
I've never heard that.
That's why I listen to
interesting.
Monstrum. It's only like 20-minute little tidbits. I usually learn something from them, so if you get a chance.
Oh, on YouTube?
Yeah.
Monstrum? Yeah, I think I have that one.
Yeah.
I just have too many things on my YouTube. I can't even keep track of anything because I have too much,
Yeah. Too much tube on my hand. Oh, and a group of owls is called a parliament. So I'm glad.
Really?
Perhaps for the first time we have a Congress here in the U.S. Another first here at MLT.
Did they get funky?
Yeah, I think they do.
Oh, yeah.
I really do. Remember,
Parliament Owl-delic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you're talking about kind of the Pabst Blue Ribbon Parliament kind of Flagstaff scene from 10 years ago.
I could actually see George Clinton being a shape-shifting owl.
Wow.
I could see that.
Nice.
That would kind of make sense in a way.
I think you just came up with your owl guano file. So
Ooh.
tuck that away.
I'll save that.
Remember an owl mythos in the book of Isaiah in the King James Version of the Old Testament? We found God smiting stuff. No surprise there, but he leaves the world to ravens, vultures, dragons, and, quote, a court of owls. Remember that? So owls have control of both legislative, parliament, and the judicial branch.
Well, this meshes with the whole wisdom of owls mythos. Like everywhere you go, the owls hold like this mystical wisdom on some level. So it makes sense, that they're in charge, making the natural laws or whatever.
Right, but we're talking about now the legislative and the judicial branch.
Sure.
And then we talked about last week, Kamala is tied to Lakshmi, tied to the lotus, tied to owl. So now we could have all three governments tied up by owls. I don't want to make a political statement, but we could just be owls in the very near future.
I'm going to say, actually, I was going to say so. I'm going to make a note for my
your owl guano file.
Yeah, it just expanded greatly.
So owl, that's that. Other entomological goodness. Note the Proto-Mayan name for owl is Lechuza, so it may not be named by Spanish colonizers, at least potentially. The creature is also associated with the words Tecalotl, Buho, Mokalua, Lechuza, and Tecalote. The last is a loan from Nahuatl, Mexican Spanish, or Aztec. So there's definitely some ancient words for this owl creature. All that was gleaned from Owl Names, Washington.edu. Favorite targets of Lechuza. In my research, Lechuza targets drunks, children, and men who mistreat women, or men who have evil in their hearts. So a drunk kid who likes to bully girls is in big trouble. I'm looking at you, Nelson, from The Simpsons.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't pick on Lisa.
Well, it's the cautionary tale thing. Kids shouldn't wander around after dark, and you shouldn't get too drunk when you're at the bar and go stumbling home, and you should, treat your women right, and, treat your partner right, generally.
No, this all started because Lisa read too many books. Now she's smart. It's terrible. She's a paranerdalist, fellow paranerdalist.
But that really, though, that's kind of tropey too, right? Like we hear that in a lot of places where the monster is the cautionary tale. It's very bogeyman-y. This keeps bringing my mind back to the bogeyman.
Right. And I think there's that tie-in with the Portal Guardian. So there's this, like with what happened to Cisco. A hellhound starts stalking you when your life is being overrun by hard drugs.
The negative energy that you're talking about.
Negative energy attracts something that's a warning, and perhaps it's not actually negative at all. It's just scared straight, literally, by demons.
There you go. Yeah, and that's how Cisco's story did it too.
Yeah,
so,
he changed his life.
Yeah.
Those events culminating in a dream of a wolf breaking through the window of his room changed his life. He
gave him that bit of a Satori moment where he was like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
Because that's what you need when you're in a bad cycle like that.
Yeah.
I've been in some cycles myself where all of a sudden you have that moment, you go, what the hell am I doing? Like you have that moment of clarity that allows you to turn down a different road, so to speak, start a new path.
The crossroads is where the monsters hang out. He was at a crossroads.
There you go.
And the owl
Take
hangs
a
out
hard
at the
left,
crossroads,
man.
too. Wolves hang out at crossroads. Owls hang out at crossroads. Remember that. Some of the commonality stories to sounds. One variation of an owl shapeshifter was howler we talked about last week. Makes an indescribable, terrifying shriek. Or it often mimics baby cries and will whistle, sometimes to injure.
That's the language of the first world.
Another whistler. Yeah, we keep hearing that because there's we got some intel. We're going to talk more about whistling, I think, coming up here, and I want you to tell that bit again.
Okay.
Lechuza also has these mimicry traits of the baby and the crying baby and the woman in distress. Height and weight. Tails vary, but usually 2 to 7 feet tall with a wingspan topping 15 feet or more, at least when it's in human-sized variety. One account we talked about last time, a person described the wingspan as long as the road was wide. That was referred to specifically as the Stikini, another possible version of this beastie. Eyes, Lechuza sightings describe the eyes as being dark and almond-shaped. Howler, Lechuza's cousin, has yellow eyes. Owls in general are often associated with red eyes, possibly due to the extra blood vessels. Color, sometimes white or gray, but most often pitch black. Odor, they smell like lavender and strawberries.
Pitch black?
Yeah. Because
that is not a normal owl color.
I think it's described dark.
That's wild.
But
if I saw a pitch black owl, that would freak me out,
but
dude.
how much of it is, just like we've said this before, it's nighttime during these
You don't
sightings.
even see 'em.
Mothman is black because
Yeah.
they can't see anything but these red eyes staring.
Because
at
that's all you see is shadow.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
They are shadows in darkness.
it's true. And locomotion speed, no reports of crazy fast movements like skin,
Walkers.
but they can fly, so they are by their nature fast. Can they jump a mile in an instant? I didn't hear those accounts, but something tells me they should probably have similar powers. They're shaman who are transformed, potentially.
Dude, they have silent flight. They can literally fly an inch over your head, and if you don't see them, you don't know they were there.
And I'm going to say it again. I probably said this already. That happened to you while we were editing.
That's happened to me in some other stories, I can tell, when we do our wrap-up thing later.
We
too.
weren't editing the owl stuff, though, is the sad part. I wish
No,
these
but we were
creatures would attack us during the right episode.
We were approaching Owl Week, because this was
I know. Oh, I was preparing it. That's for sure.
This is when we were finishing last season,
Yeah.
and we were talking about Owl Week.
Oh, I'm sure.
When that happened.
I imagine we were.
We're giving away a story that you want to tell later. We got to stop talking about
That's
that.
what we do. Nocturnal, like their ornithoid counterparts, most of these sightings occur at night, not always. Other unique features and characteristics, they have the ability to disorient and even paralyze their victim, a common trope for shapeshifters across the globe. Again, their touch or their whistle can be dangerous, or a hoot may portend death. Scratches on the door is a warning you are marked for the next attack as well, like that Mel Gibson movie. But back to mimicry for a minute. I made that back to just the spreadsheet just for a second. Lechuza dings a lot of boxes. Therianthrope, hallucinogens, whistling, lures prey, mimicry, baby or woman, heinous act, cannibalism, red or yellow eyes. We seem to see the same creatures globally, or at least monsters seem to come with many of the same characteristics.
And they tend to have that evil act that makes them evil.
They have to do something bad.
You have to purposefully take action to become that evil,
Right.
to gain the powers of that evil.
Yeah, I think it was like Cuckhorn's Navajo sorcery. I really want to get my hands on that. Again, I worry about giving information and things away that are not going to be helpful to the greater community.
Sure.
But at the same time, I'm trying to figure some stuff out so I can actually discuss this in some kind of meaningful way. But again, we hope the folks listening here are not, going too dark, and we hope that we're on the road from hate to love.
Yep.
Even
We
though
sure are.
we're starting out in deep hate, but that's okay.
Deep hate.
Deep hate.
But we see
We have a podcast about monsters.
the
It's
light of
deep
love
hate.
is shining in the distance, and we
Yeah.
are taking one step at a time toward it. That's
Right.
all you can really do, Moz.
Right.
It's all
Right.
we can ask of ourselves. One step at a time towards love.
Right. Drain the last drops of the blood from your victim, drop it, and then keep walking towards the light. That's what we're trying to do
Yeah.
today.
And that's how the Monster Lore Tour rolls right there, buddy.
But I want to, your little whistle there, I want to kind of talk about that real quick. Here's a whistling in the woods thing I found on paranormalauthority.com. And the reason I mention this is we keep coming across whistling.
I can whistle and hum at the same time. Have I done that yet?
Do it. Wow.
It's totally a UFO
We
landing.
have
yeah.
Mars attacks flashbacks here, but it's okay. We're getting over them. We got a therapist.
I learned that from my Prius.
Oh, because that's the sound it makes when it's like the battery's backing off.
When you're
there.
coasting down the hill
Yeah.
and it's charging, like the whatever it's called, is
Yeah.
the inverter's like whirring.
Yeah. The whirring inverter.
It goes.
That was my favorite Lovecraft short story, too. The whirring inverter. Hey, so Whistling in the Woods, I found this on paranormalauthority.com, the Lechuza. The trademark noise of a Lechuza isn't a hawk-like screech or an owl-like hoot. Instead, this cryptid makes a series of whistles when it wants to get attention. Most often, the whistles occur in batches of 3. Several rumors surround the whistling noise Lechuzas make. Some believe that it's a way that these witches communicate with each other. Others say it's a noise they make when they're about to start hunting. That again from paranormalauthority.com.
And it's supposedly connected to the witcheriness. The coven of witches turned into the owls, and you have the three whistles. It's very, the power of three in the Wiccan world is a big deal.
Well, it's Wiccan. It's also what Clowlin talks about with his owl stuff, as we're going to talk about. So it's kind of a precursor. But evil things, like you say, seem to be associated with threes and with whistling, and so does Jeremy, because he whistles 3 times usually. Yeah, there you go. But 3 a.m. is also the witching hour. And these tie into some of Russ files. We just found that out, 10 minutes before we started.
Yeah.
I asked him a question. When did that happen?
I've been working nights for going on 2 decades, really. So I'm up at 3 in the morning like all the time. 3 a.m. hour is one of my favorite times a day.
No, but this was the one where I sent you a link about owls.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about that.
That one we're saving for later.
Yep.
I'm only telling that
Save
one once.
It for later. The evil shaman of South America called a Kainama, which we will deep dive at some point in the future, but can be identified by, quote, the call of the bokokobo, the bokoboko, night owl, or kurakura, goat sucker, or perhaps a whistling noise.
Goat sucker? That's the chupacabra.
I know. This is dark shamans from South America, and this is, again, that'll be in the show notes, but that's Neil Whitehead's work. And basically, we find some of the same things kind of everywhere, the same themes. You know what? I also put an example down. You handed me an Il Sabone sour for. We finished our last season very recently. I think that's what that was about, right? You handed me a beer for something I did.
Yeah, I think it was a season finale. Yeah,
it was an Il Sabone sour.
Oh no, it was first week of Owl Week. It was the first week of season 2. That's what it was.
There you go. So he hands me this thing and. He's a whistler across the high plains of the northern South America, lugging a bag of bones, and I read the little saying to you in the back of the beer. We find another whistler that I know we've mentioned him here as a whistler, but it's a theme that we can't seem to get away from.
Yeah.
Could
it just be that whistling's kind of creepy in itself?
I think everything we look at seems to be more. I'm going to use the whirlwind as an example. I think the vortex and the energy of the whirlwind has something to do with magical and events and projection and mystical experiences and monsters. And I think whistling is something we're going to have to look into deeper, and we're just going to have to solve it at some point.
Okay.
And more for owl witch origins, those ancient owl critters. Back to Lilith one more time, that winged taloned goddess of death, an owl woman from Sumerian tablets dating back to 2300 BC. I mention it here again because we are specifically honing in on, again, owl shapeshifters. And most of them tend to be women, but not exclusively. But they seem to start with Lilith or Lilitu again.
Oh, yeah.
And again, some of the first things to surface from the truly ancient past is the notion of owl-like humanoids. We've been through this before. But pre-Lilith, that cave painting we keep referencing is clearly male, but older by tens of thousands of years. With Tue Friere, we have that picture from that Supernatural, and Joseph Campbell. Yeah, we found it in several places, but it's a chimeric thing, but it has an owl face. Yeah. In Supernatural, there's another cave picture on the page before it, I believe, has all these pictures of these owl people kind of things. And we seem to find them around here as well, as we will see. So, but our first image of an owl is a shape-shifting shamanic one from tens of thousands of years ago.
Because why wouldn't it be?
Why not? And I mention it again because we're doing shape-shifting women owls.
No, that actually is pretty mind-blowing, honestly.
Yep. And regardless of gender, the owl is an ancient symbol associated with beings of power. No matter how you slice it, there are a great number of shape-shifting owl tales. 9 out of 10 of them seem to be women. I did find some that were male, but it seems to be predominantly, it's more of the ones I came across.
I mean, that can have a lot to do with the energy thing as well. These things are a lot of times almost appear to be more energy beings than actual physical beings when you get, generally speaking, in the cryptid world.
Yeah, good way to put it. The cryptoid being a little bit more magical and strange and mysterious, and cryptid being something you throw a net over.
Right. So. But it's and you do get that where and it seems to be heavily masculine energy, because I think honestly that's where most of the negative energy comes from, is the masculine side. It's more violent and stuff, you know what I mean? So a lot of these things like the skin
walker
tend to be like, you hear about a female doing that, and it's like mind-blowing. Like, it's all dudes. It's all guys. It's very masculine. But in this case with the owl, I'm wondering if it's because of just kind of the energy involved in the owl side of this equation. It's a much more feminine energy. It is because it is more lawful. It's almost like they have their codes. They're a parliament. They're a court. They're, harbingers and portents, and they work as the, go-between us and the spirit world. And it's almost like they have a job, like they're fulfilling a real function. As scary as they might be at times and as horrifying as the tales might get, I think they have more of like a real purpose to them rather than the skin
walker
sort of being that's just out there doing evil and messing with people and not really trying to fix anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and as we discussed, the targets are people men who have already wronged women, so they're like an avenging spirit. It's like the crow. It's not something just generally out there doing bad. It's something, either a warning for people who are off the path,
right,
or it's someone who's really...
They're only scary to people who are doing something wrong. Maybe. You know what I mean? They're like Batman.
Yeah.
Only the criminals are afraid of Batman. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of the feeling I get from this so far.
Nice. Well, there you go. And you tied in Batman, so...
go back to...
He just likes to mention this.
Episodes 12 and 13, if you want to know where Batman came from. Yeah. We figured it out.
We figured out who the inspiration for Batman was.
Stanley Hotel...
Not the real Batman.
Our Stanley Hotel episodes,
That's what we do
12
here.
And 13.
Yep. Greek, we're going to start with the Greeks for a little global roll call. A close parallel is the harpy, half woman, half bird, very nasty temperament, but a close connection to Hecate, goddess of fertility, agriculture, and death, and of the crossroads, of course. She loved to hang around cemeteries and tombs, and there's a connection between her and an old woman legend, the Roman Strigae. But many descriptions of the harpy seem to be owl-like. So may harpy misfind.
Oh, yeah, harpies are very owl-like. I've always just considered them close cousins,
Yep, definitely. Here's Teresa Bain's take from her handy-dandy bestiary. It should be in the show notes. The Roman Strigae, variation Striglas. In ancient Roman folklore, there was a deformed and vicious species of vampiric owl-like creature described as having the face of a woman. They were known as the Strigae. At night, these creatures flew out into the sky to attack children and drain them of their blood. By day, they would shapeshift into the form of an old woman. The Strigae fell under the domain of Hecate, the goddess of the three paths, and witchcraft. She was also the guardian of the household and protector of all newborn life. That again from Teresa Bain's Encyclopedia of Beasts and Monsters and Myths. Bit of a contradiction, though, protecting newborn life, but the witch goes out, like starting with Lilith, who was wronged by, thrown out of Eden, and then God wants to kill 100 of her children every day until she comes back.
So she raises an army of demons to fight heaven. But good for her.
But in this Roman version, she's a protector of children and newborn life, and historically we have the witch as attacking the Aswang. I mean, just all over the place. There's always something going after infants.
Yeah, that's just that witches get turned into things they are not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, generally witches are trying to do something good in the world. But, society, the patriarchy, and all these, man-made organization type things poo-poo on it because they don't want them to have the power. They want to keep the power for themselves. And we all know how that cycle works. But, yeah, these owls might not even be as scary as they're constantly made out to be. It's just they want us to think of them that way so that we don't start accepting them as some sort of actual power.
Well, the stories we're going to get to are pretty darn scary, so hold tight. But from 2nd century Rome, we find Aplysius, and here's his classic Metamorphosis. He's a dude who really appreciated the supernatural, by the way. I found this bit from Brad Steiger's work. It brings us to your second reading.
Apullius describes the salves that wizards and witches used to transform themselves into animals. In one episode, he tells of peering through a crack in a door and watching a witch named Pamphile take off her clothes and remove from a chest a number of small boxes that contained various ointments. She anointed her whole body, from the very nails of her toes to hair on the crown of her head. And when she was anointed all over, she whispered many magic words to a lamp. Then she began to move her arms, first with tremulous jerks, and afterwards by a gentle undulating motion, till a glittering downy surface by degrees overspread her body. Feathers and strong quills burst forth suddenly. Her nose became a hard, crooked beak. Her toes changed to curved talons. To Apuleius's spying eyes, Pamphile was no longer Pamphile, but she had become an owl.
That from Brad Steiger's Werewolf book, Encyclopedia of Shapeshifting Beings, in the show notes. Apuleius himself later tries this stunt, but only manages to transform himself into a donkey, which is why this is also called the Golden Ass. Somebody was critiquing it. It became known as the Golden Ass. There's kind of the same idea going on in Poland, by the way, with a similar etymology as well. From BrendanNoble.com, we find a strigay, a horrifying variation of this mythos from Slavic mythology. 2 sets of hearts, teeth, and souls. It's more vampiric with blue skin, but it does have a talon thing going on, and in some descriptions we find it's a cannibalistic owl demon. That from Strigay in Polish mythology, Slavic Saturday, BrendanNoble.com in the show notes. You might have also heard it as Strix or Strixes as well. There's also a Lithuanian owl witch named Ragana we mentioned last time in the Mythos episode. This from magicalspot.com, and it's your third reading.
Ragana, in folk tales, she is referred to as a bony-legged witch. In Lithuanian and Latvian folklore, represents the image of the destructive and regenerative goddess. ... Ragana, the goddess of witches, was believed to be a seer who could reveal the future and knew how to keep supernatural powers in check. Her appearance might have been that of a bony, yellow, misshapen old bunker with a large beaked nose whose tip touched the chin, or that of a beautiful woman or a terrifying creature. It could take myriad forms, most notably that of a barn owl.
That from a list of 5 deities that are associated with owls, magicalspot.com in the show notes. So on the Hindu side, last time we mentioned Lakshmi and Nalakshmi, one good sister, the owl shapeshifter associated with evil, one good, one bad. But we've got another, this is Poland, and we now have a Lithuanian barn owl woman shapeshifter. So that does, again, the barn owl comes up most.
Right, specifically barn owl on that one.
Specifically barn owl. In Cameroon, I found that witches are reported to transform into owls. Didn't find a lot on that. If you have more on that, monsterloretour@gmail.com. And in the Philippines, we have the Aswang Nalipad, Lipad. It's an Aswang that's half bird, half man. It's known as one of its many skins to take on the form of an owl. No surprise with our archipelago that we found a connection between the Manangal and the Mexican Bruja last time. Mm-hmm. No surprise there's kind of an owl-like creature flying around there as well. I found a variation of this in Africa too, in the work of anthropologist Sharon Mertz, who we've mentioned, a.k.a. from the Were-Crocodile episode. In her study from West Benin, Africa, she mentions another anthropologist in her study who worked with a tribe and, that has these witch shapeshifters who can shapeshift again into Tito alba, the barn owl. So Africa, Poland, New Mexico, same species associated with Lechuza. It is kind of odd.
Once again, we see the global shamanic culture taking form.
Yeah. Native American beliefs. We're going to go tribe by tribe now. You heard some of these from the Mythos episode, but now we're getting, so don't worry about the deja vu part. We're going to only do the shape-shifting owls. We're going to go a little deeper into each. We touched on some of these, I guess is what I'm saying. But Cherokee, for the Cherokee, owl actually means witch. We'll be returning to the Cherokee in our best defense segment. But I couldn't find one that was owl and equals shaman. I found owl equals witch as close as I get. I usually find somewhere where there's a direct connection between, owl and shaman. Didn't find that this time. If you know anything, monsterlordtour@gmail.com. the Koweekin. We talked last week in Big Hoot about Vancouver Island, also Bigfoot country as well. But here's that full account of what I mentioned last time, which gets a little more cryptoidy. So if you can read from mysteriesofcanada.com, which will be in the show notes.
Native superstitions regarding owls can be found even further to the west on Vancouver Island. According to anthropologist Barbara Lane in her 1953 study of native Northwest Coast religion, the Cowichan Indians who inhabited the southern end of the island believed that all owls, both large and small, were ghosts, and held the killing of them taboo. If you killed one of her informants explained, you'd die very soon. The Cowichan also believed that owls had the ability to speak human words, and sometimes said the following to natives in the Cowichan tongue, quote, "Not very long you're going to cry," unquote. It was believed that anyone who heard these words from an owl would soon lose a family member.
And that from Giant Owls in Canada, mysteriesofcanada.com. So owls as ghosts, a bounty on your head if you kill one of their own. You know, the usual. Lechuza isn't the only Native American witch woman, though. The Choctaw tell this story, quote, "Great witches of the Hatukchaya that can transform themselves into owls. Once the Hatukchaya is an owl, they use their medicine on unsuspecting people. For this reason, people have grown fearful of owls and want to avoid interaction with them because their presence is a warning of bad things to come. Traditionally, we consulted the village Indian doctor, or Elikchi, to determine if an owl was a Hatukchaya. We took their suggestions to counteract the upcoming disaster. Over time, people noticed strange human-like characteristics of the Hatukchaya owls that made them easier to differentiate between regular owls. Their deep-throated or unusual hoot, their ability to laugh, their tall stature or roundness like a man, even their ability to dance, walk, jump, and move like a human." And that's from ChoctawNationCulture.com. Will be in the show notes. We saw a dancing owl, too, by the way.
Who did?
You and me.
A dancing owl?
We danced with an owl.
Oh.
Staring out.
I see what you're saying.
The sliding door right there.
I see what you're saying.
So with Choctaw, we get a clear picture of the abilities shape-shifting owl women. The crow. For the crow, traditional folklore tales point to a belief as owl as shape-shifting fiend, linked to ghosts and spirits of the dead. Same stuff. The Hopi, I found an old Hopi legend on sacredtext.com, also in the show notes. But here's the overview. Woman leaves a child outside after been crying, and it disappears in the night. Group of men come across a child turning into an owl in a cave. It's growing feathers and spots were appearing on its skin. They go back to the village where they figure it's the missing child's, so they must return to the cave to retrieve it. They do, but an owl tells them to put the child in a room for 4 days till the sun rises on the 4th day, and it will be a Hopi once again. It's another tale, though, where the mother can't quite wait long enough. First lights of dawn, instead of when the sun rises, she bursts into the room, and the child turns back into an owl and flies away and to return. It's like the Orpheus thing.
Why do they
or
always
coyote.
do that?
There's a coyote story, the same idea. They always just turn around or miss out or
Patience,
mess up.
man.
Exactly.
There's a lot of moral stories about patience. There you go.
That's from the traditions of the Hopi, the child who turned into an owl. That's in sacred texts and in the show notes. Wallapai, there are some rock petroglyphs in Arizona with some images of people with open mouths as well as therianthropic owls. The local Wallapai associated the pictures in this canyon with bad medicine, which is what Bon Jovi apparently needs.
Your love is like bad medicine.
So he needs to play Peach Springs next time, and then
Bad medicine is what I need.
There you go. There's the Inuit, who believed that the short-eared owl was once a young girl who was magically transformed into an owl with a long beak. But the owl became frightened and flew into the side of a house, flattening its face and beak. That's how it got that flat face. This is the mythic side. Yeah, this is more of the mythic side of the owl. The Casca Indians, located on the edge of the southern edge of the Yukon Territory, have another woman owl shapeshifter tale, wherein an angry sorceress mother turns her daughter into an owl by first making her fetch owl feathers in a tree and then putting the whammy on her. They don't call it the whammy, I'm sure, but
I get you.
But this
I'm
owl
familiar
woman
with the whammy.
is said to still haunt the northern forests. As for the Lakota, I found in Christian Pratt's Encyclopedia of Shamanism how the Lakota believe in the Muga, H-M-U-G-A, sorcerers of the plains that shapeshift into owls or other ornithoids. These are more ghoul-like and tend to frequent graveyards to feed on corpses or gather parts of things for their black magic. This one got its name from the hum of the flapping of its wings, the humga. That's from Christina Pratt's Encyclopedia of Shamanism in the show notes. But a humbuzz whistles. We always hear those humbuzz whistles.
Yeah.
From the Ojibwa Cree comes the story of Guyana-Way and the cannibalistic woman. Mysteriesofcanada.com again describes this Western Canadian tale of Guyana-Way from the First Nation, which comes down to us from the Sandy Lake Elders of Ontario. James R. Stevens' 1995 book Sacred Legend recounts. And here's the quote from Jeremy, reading number 5.
A mythical god from another world who came to the earth to destroy cannibalistic creatures. The alien protagonist decided to investigate a succession of mysterious disappearances which plagued a certain Indian village. His investigation brought him to the strange abode of a young woman, which bore the appearance of a beaver lodge hidden among the tall pines. While spying on this house from his hiding place in the trees, Guyana-Way saw its young female inmate beguile a passing traveler into joining her for dinner. The traveler failed to emerge from the lodge, leading Guyana-Way to suspect that his hostess had eaten him. He prayed and fasted, through which process he determined that the young woman was indeed a cannibal. Guyana-Way began to change, Stevens wrote. His arms became great wings, and his ears grew feathers, and his feet changed into talons. He looked like a great owl. Off he flew toward the beaver hutch. In his owl disguise, Guyana-Way managed to make his way unannounced into the cannibal woman's home, fooling magic-talking furs which hung from the walls, which informed the woman of all comers and goers. He threw the woman to the ground, breaking her neck and paralyzing her, saying, "You will live the rest of your days in hunger and pain for the evil you have committed."
That from Giant Owls in Canada,
That ended very
mysteriesofcanada.com in the show notes. Well, again, though, he finds a cannibal, and now the Court of Owls. He's kind of the owl shapeshifter, but he's also the police.
Oh.
He's kind of the Sherlock Hoots here, who kind of sees the cannibal, stakes the place out.
He's enforcing the
He's
law.
enforcing the law.
Put down by the
So
parliament.
it's a different, and a male, by the way.
And a male.
Yep.
They had to send the male to fight the female.
No, well, the female's just the cannibal. Yeah,
The
just the
female's
cannibal
just the
woman.
cannibal.
But the owl is actually the Sherlock Hoots kind of.
I wonder if the cannibal was a male, if it would have been a female changing into the owl.
maybe.
Battle of the sexes type stuff, you know?
There you go. But it does come back to that Court of Owls stuff for sure.
Oh, totally, yeah. I'm glad you pointed that out specifically.
But the Salish, another tribe, with variation of the aforementioned child-stealing owl story. They have the basket ogress we mentioned last time. Flies kids off in baskets. Another version, the woman finally escapes from her owl husband who's kidnapped, but her family shuns her, so she returns back to the owl community.
Ugh.
I know, it's a sad story. Another version, she comes back as a powerful sorceress hybrid. More on that later in the episode. Either way, there's a lot of stories of owl women haunting the northern woods, which is why it's best to stay at craft beer bars in the southern woods, Jeremy.
There you go.
That's my theory.
I like that thought.
But the Seminole, they have this contend with the aforementioned Stigini, Stikini, Ishtikini, the owl creatures we discussed in Big Hoot. That's kind of from that region. Oh, and this from randomtimes.com. If sufficiently fortified, pancakes can be good for you. No, it's not that.
Pancakes are totally good for you.
It's not that random.
Good for your soul, at least.
That was really random. No, this from randomtimes.com, and it brings us to our sixth reading for Jeremy.
When the tribe was forced to come to Oklahoma in the 1800s, they were also forced to live alongside this new threat. Stikinis were said to originally be human witches that grew more terrible and powerful the more evil they bestowed upon people and the world. One of their most notable powers was the ability to transform into owl-like humanoids to terrorize local villages. It is said that by day they looked like other Seminole people, but by night they changed completely. Unlike a vampire turning into a bat, the Stikini had more of a werewolf-like transformation. Once the moon came up, they would vomit up their souls, internal organs, and blood, and transform into undead owl monsters that feasted upon human flesh. It is often said that they would purposefully travel deep into the woods to transform away from prying eyes, and they would hang their internal organs high in trees to prevent wild animals from snatching them. Woof. This also means that if you are in the forest late at night and find some organs dangling above you, you should leave them alone and head to safety. It is believed this transformation represents the spiritual being of the Stikini, and the human appearance it wears during the day is simply a mask. In its human form, while resembling Seminole people, it also rejects cultural norms and may seem standoffish or strange to the people it comes in contact with. And, there is a place called Steakland in Sasakwa, Oklahoma, where it is believed that the area is infested with a massive amount of Stikinis. There were a lot of disturbing and bizarre incidents that were reported in this area as well.
And that from the Owl Witches of Seminole Folklore, randomtimes.com. Again, the Stikinis all like in one place. It reminds me of in Capiz, where they thought everyone was an Aswang. We have this other area now where they think everyone is an owl witch.
That whole hanging your guts in the tree thing is very Monongal-esque.
Very Monongal-esque, I agree. And it's kind of another variation of what we found is the Mexican Bruja. We found stories that exactly match the Monongal, which I thought was odd. If you haven't checked out our Philippine folklore episode, please do. But yeah, we find these themes. We find them all over. It weirds us out. And, and then Jeremy starts whistling at night before we go to bed. It's amazing. It really is.
I didn't know this about myself, but the whole guts hanging out, or like tearing out the guts parts, that's the ones that really get me. The Monongal really freaked me out, flying around with its guts dangling out of its upper half.
This is throwing up. It's putting the stuff up in trees. Yeah. Like it's a variation of a theme. It also has, again, that very Wolfman transformation in the moon, where it's turning itself more like a wolf. It's transitioning to an owl, more like a Michael Landis film. I'm
going to give myself mad kudos for coming up with the werewolf thing early.
Wow.
No, not really. I'll save that for later.
Okay. So you didn't play it? Okay.
All right, I'll play it. I'll give myself some mad kudos.
Down boy!
There we go. There it is.
I didn't hear it either time. But okay, I don't know how this works. But here's, but is this transformation of a woman to an owl, or is this transformation of the folklore through colonization and oral tradition? And we also have to look at that. In this one, you get a taste of that Wendigo connection as well. Oh, we mentioned this Tecumseh, Oklahoma account last episode, this night vision goggle sighting. Remember that? Wherein the owl in question was supposed to have the wingspan as wide as the road, and they were looking through night.
Oh, yeah.
That was supposed to be a Stikini. This is also true of any large creature is associated with an Aswang in the Philippines, so I thought that was kind of another carryover. Okay. Something that's large is probably a shaman, basically, in the guise of the creature.
Right.
And we see that theme again.
And remind me, you said there were actual, like, I don't forget if it was fossil record or what, but there were actually owls that were like 5 feet tall or something, right?
They were like just under 4 feet tall.
Just under 4 feet tall.
And they were in
Cuba. Their wingspan must be huge.
Well, we struggled on that because they seem almost dodo bird-like. So they seemed like the wings were underdeveloped. So nobody really was willing to guesstimate what the wingspan was. They seemed to have very tall legs, and they were ferocious because they had tens of thousands of critters in their caves. So these were like, very good, very good hunters.
The real-life version of an owl bear kind of thing.
Owl bears, yeah. Don't cocaine owl bear me, please. Crying out loud. I'm just getting over
cocaine owls. Oh, no.
Exactly. The Stony, along the eastern slopes of the Rockies and Stony Indian country near Chiniki Lake, is said to be the home of the howler, back to him, also known as the Bahata. Again, this thing is also said to be a shapeshifter. The accounts I came across, it's either a giant owl or an owl head with the body of a horse. Or there's even a more chimeric version with a bear body and eagle talons. It has yellow eyes and a scary shriek, thus the name howler. But even if its horse form is said to swing down like kind of Sassabonsum style to snag its prey in its sharp talons. Believed to be an expat like the Quivatok from Inuit folklore, who get too old or sick and can't keep up. This variation, though, it's the warriors who get lost and can't find their way back to the tribe become howlers, which is, again, with the Tlingit, it was the otters, and we have all these kind of Quivatok, it was, for the Inuit, all these variations of people lost in the woods becoming elemental forces of nature. But this is believed to happen there because of the negative energy associated with Lake Chiniki. Howlers said to also have the ability to disorient or paralyze its victims. Again, like the Kushtaka, the Iraq, El Samitse of Guatemala. We talked about this a lot, but it seems to be a pretty common superpower for these things. And in mysteriesofcanada.com, which is also in the show notes, they cover a story wherein a filmmaker returning from a powwow hears this god-awful banshee-like scream that terrified him and, quote, I had never heard before, like a scream of an owl or something. It was the most terrifying scream I've ever heard, like a hound from hell, man. I can't describe it. Giant owls in Canada, mysteriesofcanada.com. Back to the Tlingit, I think we just mentioned them. Southeastern Alaska.
Tlingit, that's the otter men, right?
The otter, yes, one of the main otter tribe.
The Kushtaka, episode 24.
There you go. There's a Tlingit account, another variation of a treed woman, who in this case mistreated her mother-in-law, so ended up in a tree and trapped there. At night, she transforms gradually into an owl. She starts talking to the family, and eventually it's more hoot-like, and then once fully transformed, she flies off into the night. Just another version of the same story.
So the Tlingit have owl shapeshifters as well as the otter shapeshifters.
Pacific Northwest, there's a ton of those stories about the woman in the tree. There's a lot of variations I came across of this story. We'll still have more to come, I think. Tlingit Myths and Texts, that comes from. Woman who was turned into an owl, that's in sacredtext.com. Tsimishian, right near the Tlingit there, up in Alaska, Pacific Northwesty stuff. I also found this in sacredtext.com of a young girl snatched by a white owl and flown to the top of a tree to smoke that stogie. But she marries the owl and creates owl-human hybrids. That's also very common. That from the Thunderbird, Quail, the owl, sacredtext.com. Yakima tribe, we have the Tatakleah. Tahlekleah, owl people. They particularly tell of these sisters who lived in caves and hunted the local villagers and craved the flesh of children. And from good old Listverse, I snagged this quote. They describe these same monsters as, quote, greatly feared and considered some of the most dangerous beings on Earth. And that from 10 Eerie Native American Monsters of Listverse.
More dangerous than Cocaine Bear?
Oh, you've got to stop or I'm going to Kokomo you. But there's a nearby Okanagan tale of the Tatakleah as well, wherein a boy captured by several of these creatures managed to escape and return to his tribe. The owl women who had held the boy captive eventually died mysteriously when their cave grew red hot and inexplicably exploded.
Whoa.
That was a Gilligan's Island episode too, I believe. But the owl people haven't...
That was a Gilligan's Island?
I don't know. It sounds like it could
Okay.
be. But the owl people haven't fully disappeared, according to the Yakima. One of the eyes of these creatures was given to the owls, so the ornithoid has a little cannibal monster in them. So from this story of these women owl people, the eye was given to the actual owl, and that's why the owl is still connected to these owl shape-shifting women.
Wow.
So that's an origin mythos to some degree.
Okay.
Those full encounters, by the way, at owlwomanmonsternativeamericans.com in the show notes. And finally, the nearby Hakawi tell of a strange tale of an owl woman who would open beer bottles with her beak down at the Legion and who could use her detachable talons with deadly accuracy on Dart League night.
Did you say the Hikawi? Are you making an F-Troop joke?
Yeah, that's actually...
Do people even know that show anymore?
Well, you're supposed to pick out the fake one.
My dad liked that show.
Well, I wasn't going to point out the Hikawi. It's actually out of order. I was trying to go in alphabetical order, and Hikawi's totally H, and we already did Yakima.
It stands out.
Yeah, we've already Yakima'd this shit. But yes, that's the fake one. So very good.
F-Troop, no shit.
I wasn't even.
I haven't heard.
Try not to
F-Troop
highlight that part of the.
Yeah.
I needed a fake tribe. I went back in time. Yeah.
Oh no, good call, man. I props, but yeah, I haven't heard an F-Troop joke in a long time.
Well, I got one coming up later in the episode.
Is that on like TV Land still or anything? I wonder if that's even still out there.
I imagine. So again, those were the more mythic side of things, but there are some more recent Lechuza accounts and some highlight stuff on these series of tubes called the web. So that was kind of the more...
The internet is a series of tubes.
Yeah, there was a politician who said that. I believe him. I think he was right. I think it was that Alaska guy. We're back to the Tlingit Smithsonian area.
I really can't remember.
I think he died in a plane crash. We're going to have to look into this.
Yikes. You're getting real dark on me here, Moz.
Well, I didn't say it. I'm going to have to look into this now and figure out who said that. But I think it was that Alaska senator guy who
Where
died
the
in a plane
Tlingit are from.
Crash. Yeah, and I think otters got him. That's just my aho guano today is now over.
Well, the owls got him.
The owl otters. We're going to talk about them.
Do they cross over?
When I have time to make this shit up.
What about the owls versus the otters? That would be a cool battle.
When it's Mechalon versus Mecha Shark, like, I don't know, like, I think we could do stuff like that would be much better.
Yeah.
Sharknado 4.
Yeah,
Why do we need a Sharknado 4?
We should have shapeshifter death matches on pay-per-view kind of stuff.
Or Pokemon, or we can make Dungeons and Dragons characters. Whatever you want to do.
I got plenty of Dungeons and Dragons characters.
There you go. Hey, they made one for me, by the way. They made a satirical bard guy that can fight people with his wit.
Yeah.
And I said,
you're going to make a great bard, Moz.
Here's the thing. I said, I finally like a character for Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
So when I rolled for my character points, Bone goes, I don't know. He goes, I don't know in all my years of being a dungeon master if anyone's beaten what you just rolled.
It's the greatest for actual players who are going to understand what I'm about to say. The highest numbers I've ever seen in one set of attributes. Like you have multiple 18 pluses at first level.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And like nothing below a 15, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think 15 was your worst roll.
Yeah. 13.
Anyone? Oh, did you have a 13?
13.
You had like 16 plus on almost all of them.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like the D&D nerds out there are really going to appreciate what I just said. Like one attribute under 16.
There you go.
That's crazy.
There you go. Yeah,
you have a 20 at first level. You have a 20 charisma on a bard at first level. Your vicious mockery is going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful.
The thing to behold and enjoy.
What the hell are we talking about, Moz?
So again, those are more the mythic side. We went down kind of the global roll call. But there are some more recent Lechuza accounts on this series of tubes called the Web. This story has been mozified for your protection a little bit here, but I came across this encounter where I don't know a lot of details, but a 15-year-old named Servando Reyes at a ranch in Mexico is attacked by one of these things. The boy's dog attacks to try to fend it off, but the owl kept coming as they fled to safety to the into the ranch. The dog died after its wounds, but it had no life-threatening wounds during the attack. It just was too much excitement for this thing, and its heart gave out.
Scared it to death.
Yeah, pretty much. It reminds me of Matt's. We just did a rake encounter where the dog was kind of totally freaked out by an encounter with a rake.
Yeah,
so,
our first summer break episode there with Trent's interview.
Yeah, so you basically have a dog that's totally freaked out by a rake, and this is a dog totally freaked out by a Lechuza.
That's episode 52.
Nice. He's good at this stuff. Monsters and Mysteries in America, by the way, has a very creepy account, and for those familiar with their format, they do like 3 different beasties per episode, which I find sad. They should be able to just do one an episode. But the Lechuza segment recounts this family being completely terrorized on their own New Mexican ranch by an owl witch beast. It's a great little 15-minute segment, by the way. Having watched it, I'm just guessing. I try to find it, but you can't. That's not one of the ones you have to pay for. But I would say that account was within the last 20 years. It's a pretty creepy account of this family kind of terrorized by this thing. So if you get a chance to check that one out. Also, Destination America covers a Lechuza encounter wherein 2 teenagers, David Garcia and Mike Andrus, explore a derelict structure on the outskirts of Austin, Texas in 2010. And these 2 come face to beak with what they describe as a black feathery owl woman.
Whoa, Black Owl again.
Which is also a great Santana song, by the way.
Oh, Black Owl Woman.
Boom, 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 boom.
She's a Black Owl Woman.
I also found a campfire type story of 2 women who show up at a hunting camp of these 2 men, and the women just start pretending to be the hunters' wives. It's not the best ruse. This is not my beautiful wife. So I don't know how they thought they were going to pull that off. But they realize
this is not my big fat owl.
But as time goes on, they realize these are owl women who can open beer bottles with their beaks and on Dart League night.
Okay, you're changing my mind a little.
No, but if you're interested in that one, that was an old myth of 2 hunters, and that's in Myths and Tales of the Southeastern Indians, Alabama stories. It's called the Owl Wives. That is also on sacredtext.com in the show notes if you're interested in that one. But accounting sighting-wise, back to some of that stuff, we have some highlight reels for you. Here's an old account from 1977. Lechuza, Mexico's Witch Owl, from Paranormal Catalog, Jeremy's 7th reading.
A retelling of a Lechuza witch owl encounter. People all over Central America have reported run-ins with strange owl-like monsters that seem to fit the description of a Lechuza. In a recent encounter, a man was driving with a friend on a dirt road just outside of El Tigre, Chihuahua. Suddenly, a huge bird creature began swooping down and attacking his truck. It attacked the truck's windshield, then bounced off and fell onto the road in front of the vehicle. The man ran over the bird, then reversed over it to make sure it was dead.
We've all been there.
When the man looked in the rearview mirror to check that it was dead, he saw the Lechuza rise up off the ground. The man immediately had a heart attack and passed away. The man's friend reported this story to the local authorities. Another Lechuza was spotted several times near Nuevo Laredo in the 1950s. The people of the town were terrified and came up with a plan to kill it. They decided to use a small child as bait. My goodness.
Always a good idea.
Oh my goodness. The Lechuza saw the small child and swooped down to pick them up. The men of the town emerged with guns and shot at the creature, but only managed to injure its claw. The next day, the people of the town went to see the local witch to see if she knew anything about it. When they arrived, they realized she had a severely injured leg. Was the witch the Lechuza? There was a mass sighting of La Lechuza in 1977 in Santa Rosa, Texas. The bird was seen sitting in a tree before swooping down to one woman's front door and scratching as if it wanted to get inside. The noise attracted the neighborhood dogs, who chased the Lechuza away. The next morning, all of the neighborhood dogs had mysteriously died. My God. The locals were mystified by the sudden deaths of the dogs and the mysterious giant bird. Dude.
That was Lechuza, Mexico's Witch Owl, Paranormal Catalog, in the show notes.
Killed all the dogs?
Well, we have a guy who had a heart attack from seeing this. We have a lot of dogs that seem to be affected by this, sudden deaths. And this Robstown flap occurred in 1975. Allison Ehrlich from the Corpus Christi Caller-Times reposted the original article from Thursday, November 6, 1975, an article by Mike Norman. Description of witnesses during this month-long flap varied greatly, but a large bird was seen in the area. Descriptions range from an owl from 2 to 6 feet tall. Some accounts the bird had one leg of a man, one leg of an owl, a human head that some describe as male, others as female. So we have that one-off feature. Remember the wooden leg we came across, or the twisted part of the anatomy, or something off with the shapeshifter spreadsheet? But this flap was explained by area sculling muggles as started by an exotic pet bird escaping from a local family who was actually a circus performer with one way.
Yeah, there you go.
Doesn't make a lot of sense. A year later, there was a couple more sightings from the surrounding area. 2 San Benito policemen, in point here, had run in with a spotted bird with an estimated 10 to 12 foot wingspan. Whoa. That's pretty cool for
that's a big bird.
Policemen to have report that, because they don't generally want to put themselves out there like that.
Right.
One Alrico Guajardo in Brownsville reported seeing an owl standing 4 feet tall.
Oh, there you go.
We talked about Big Hoot
like down in Cuba.
Cuba, yep. But the face was more bat than bird-like.
Ooh.
He is reported as saying, quote, "That animal is not from this world." He told the reporter, "I was scared."
That sounds like
I know where you're going.
from Bat Squatch episode. What's his name? You know his name. The Mexican bat god guy. It looks like Batman. Camazotz. Thank you. Camazotz. Reminds me of Camazotz.
Here's what I was thinking. It reminds me of what we last episode, the Bronx, when we had that flap down there where everyone was seeing this thing saying, it's not the what is it? They called it the Bronx what is it?
Oh, yeah.
And no one knew what it was, and it seemed to have, again, this thing shows up in an area and everybody's seeing something slightly different. And it seems to triangulate. We talked about last week, but it was between moth, it was between owl, and it was between bat,
right?
And it was, between flying humanoid. There's always this triangulation of kind of things, and this is another example where it doesn't seem to quite fit into one peg. But was Lechuza at the heart of this flap, or is this another fear contagion Wedico type moment where people are just scared and seeing things? That's what I ask myself here. 2017 Chicago sightings. Again, we talked about there's some Mothman overlap, I feel like.
Yep.
This from the chilling story of Lechuza, its sinister history, I love to know, in the show notes. It brings us to Jeremy's 8th reading.
Clyde Lewis at Ground Zero writes about an April 16th, 2017 sighting of several witnesses seeing a 2-foot-tall human-like owl. Other witnesses swore the humanoid bird was over 6 feet tall and black with huge red eyes. Headline: 3 women harassed while driving. Mike Cox writes about 3 women on their way home from San Antonio one night encountering a Lechuza. According to the women, they saw a very large bird come up from behind them and fly past the car. The bird turned and came back towards the women. At one point, the bird kept pace outside the driver's window as the woman driver tried to outrun the bird. Suddenly, the car engine stopped and wouldn't restart. The 3 women sat terrified in the dark. Then the bird disappeared, and the driver was able to restart the car. Headline: Old woman found dead. Another popular story is of several men tracking down and shooting what they believed was Lechuza. They searched and were unable to find the bird and gave up. The next morning, they set back out to find the bird when they came upon the body of an old woman with frightening features. Her limp body was draped over a tree limb. The men believed they killed a real Lechuza.
Again, that from Paranormal, LoveToKnow.com in the show notes. So those little snippets were, pretty much fall in line with... Go ahead.
I have a question.
He had his hand up nicely.
They found her body draped over a tree limb, kind of like you said about the guts earlier. Could that just be the body was discarded and the owl took off?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on if it's the owl, giant
Just a
owl. Yeah, I mean, what comes first, the chicken or the egg here?
Yeah, that is kind of.
But the strange features of the woman make them think that, again, they injured the Lechuza, and this is where it ended up perching and then dying and somehow not falling off the limb. But, you know, I think those kind of follow the tropes. They certainly follow the Wolfman tropes, I'd say, again. We had another account where a car wouldn't start and a gun that wouldn't fire in Texas. It's kind of a, Mothman type chase scene.
And it honestly has some bat squatchy overtones to it as well. It really does kind of all overlap.
Yeah, bat squatchy overtones.
Yeah.
So,
the Camazotz and the car not working, like pacing the car. It has this skin
walker
sort of feel on that whole pacing you outside the window and stuff too,
Yeah. And on dictionary.com, I found a story of a video that surfaced in August of 2014 of Mexican villagers setting a owl on fire because they believed it was an actual Lechuza.
Oh, no.
They believed to have been vindicated because of the awful screams during the poor creature's demise.
Oh, no.
Terrible story. But remember, kill an owl, you die soon. I don't know if that was such a good idea. I mean, be sure you've got a evil owl witch woman before you act. And honestly, it seems like...
That's a great point. Like, even if it was really a Lechuza, do you think it's a good idea to set it on fire and stand there and watch it burn? Because it's going to pull a Candyman on you, dude.
And what if this thing really is just attacking people who are evil at heart? I mean, in some ways, you're getting involved in something. Maybe you just need to leave. It's like then you become the pumpkin. What's this movie I'm thinking of in my brain?
Pumpkinhead.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe you're the Pumpkinhead after you kill.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not always.
Like it
the
makes
best.
You like if you kill the hero, you're the villain, dude.
Yeah.
Whether you know it or not. Yep.
There's also an account in Mike Clellan's book that smells a little Lechuza-esque in his book, Messenger's Owl Synchronicity and the UFO Abductee. Anonymous account from September of 2014 where a woman describes being frightened by an owl outside of her window. It's described as being about 2 foot tall and gray. Here's the end of that account from Clellan's book. That'll be in the show notes. Eventually she spoke aloud, "Go away, you're scaring me." At that point, the owl flew towards her and landed right on the deck outside her window. It was standing with its back to her. Tori wanted to open the door and shoo it away. She was just about to get up when the owl began hopping backwards, still facing away from her. She had the distinct feeling it was trying to hide its face. It waddled right up close to the glass, turned its head, and her instantaneous thought was, "It's a woman."
Whoa.
And again from Clellan's book in the show notes. More on Clellan, by the way, coming soon to a episode of this podcast near you.
That one really creeped me out for some reason.
Yeah.
But sliding up to you backwards.
It was trying not to. Then it turns around and you're like, "That's a woman."
Oh, that's creepy as hell.
Yeah. We have some creepy ones. Best defense. We're going to shift gears away from our highlights to best defense. This from paranormalauthority.com.
Line your home with salt. For reasons unknown to us, salt is universally viewed as a material capable of warding off evil. Unsurprisingly, Lechuzas can't stand salt. Placing some nearby will prevent them from lurking near your home. I have also heard of people doing the old ring of salt and staying within it when under attack from this fiend. Curse at it. You'd think that monsters wouldn't care about foul language, but you'd be wrong. Apparently cursing at La Lechuza will make her go away. Especially good if you are within that circle of salt. I would use garlic salt if you are hemming and hawing between vampire or owl shapeshifter. That's a good point.
Yep.
Don't bother with traditional weaponry. The very same magic that makes La Lechuza shapeshift also makes her impervious to traditional weapons like knives and guns. If you hear a Lechuza's cry or see the shadow of a large owl nearby, don't go outside. The best way to prevent falling victim to these barn owls, quote unquote, is to stay inside if you hear their calls or see the shadow of a large bird perched on your roof. And lastly, avoid eye contact. It's believed that direct eye contact with a Lechuza can give them the ability to steal your soul or shapeshift into you. Ooh. Doppelgangers, huh?
And that from paranormalauthority.com in the show notes. Yeah, it's some creepy stuff. Some say if you're on fire, if you fire it with a gun, you will die. I've also read that, by the way. So it does kind of do this reversal thing.
So like inflict it with a mortal wound with a traditional weapon and you suffer the effects of the wound.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even a touch from Lechuza can be fatal too, by the way. And again, back to the mythos, dreaming about one may mean death to a family member.
So when I have my nightmares about the Lechuza tonight, it's going to make me die?
Well, I had one owl dream, but I've been working on this for so long, I think that's just normal.
Yeah.
By some accounts, this is a wasted segment because Lechuza, are indestructible, but at the same time, they have all these lists of how to destroy it. So again, we get these two things. You can't kill it, and yet here's all these things that work. But some of it's just best defense, almost like Demon Circle Salt kind of stuff.
Right, you can't kill it, but you can defend yourself from it.
Yeah. Elsewhere in Mexico and the Southwest, you can hang a rope with 7 knots outside your door. They have a mixture of chili powder and salt on hand to throw at the creature.
That sounds good. Now I want a margarita.
Here's my theory on that. If you throw chili powder at anything from a creature feature or a monster lore tour kind of thing, you might want to take notes for our Wolfman Puck segment. We could see how that all works out,
Yeah.
Here's our ever-growing cryptid spice rack, by the way. That joke inspired me to kind of take it a step further. Rosemary by the garden gate for general protection. Juniper for skin.
Walkers.
Chili salt for Lechuza. Garlic salt for vampires. Himalayan salt for Yeti. Epsom salt for Buddy Epsom, because we already made a F-Troop joke. Why not have a Beverly Hillbillies joke for all those people who are really old?
For all those young listeners out there who have no idea what you're talking about.
Exactly. But here's the Stakini, one of the aforementioned variations of the Lechuza, per Teresa Bain's bestiary again. The only way to destroy this vampire is to find its intestines while it is out hunting. Then, using magical herbs and owl feathers, construct an arrow. When the Stakini returns to consume its organs, fire upon it then with the magic arrow, as this is the only time the creature is vulnerable. Again, doesn't that sound similar?
It's it overlaps the Manangal, but it's even worse because with the Manangal, all you got to do is like steal away or destroy their lower half,
right?
And they'll wither and die without it.
Yes.
Whereas with these guys, you got to actually still use the magic arrow to take them down. You can't just steal their guts; it doesn't help.
Yeah,
because with the Manangal, you if it was the Manangal case, you could just steal the guts and they would just wither.
So you know what it means? No guts, no glory.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry. Here's a mini Stakini defense, a bit based on some of that version of this creature. Direct sunlight will kill it, again, like the Manangal.
Oh, so there's the
vampire. Yeah. Finding their organs and destroying them can return to their bodies again. So again, similar thing. And this blessed arrow decorated with owl feathers by a shaman or medicine man. So again, we see these ways to fight it from shaman to shaman. As usual, seeking a medicine man is probably your best bet with a Lechuza instead of going out and trying to kill it, which you might most likely you're killing an actual owl, and well done, sir. Or at worst, this thing's gonna really be mad at you.
Don't kill owls, man.
Don't kill owls, man.
And don't kill witches either. They're doing good in the world.
Yeah. Let's. It is one of those things.
The cannibals you can kill. I'm okay with the cannibals.
You have to do what the people in Pumpkinhead did when they're knocking at the door. You say, "No, you're marked. I'm sorry."
Yeah.
It's not my deal.
Sorry, dude.
Sorry, dude.
I didn't make you do that stuff.
Exactly. But to end our best defense, here's some old style defense from back in the day. This from James Mooney's The Swimmer Manuscript, Cherokee Sacred Formulas and Medicinal Prescriptions. Brings us to Jeremy's 10th reading.
The most dreaded of these human disease causers are the witches. See, this is what I'm talking about. Sorry, I'm going to break for a second. The witches always get the bad rap.
Yeah.
It's like overloading me in this episode right now. Okay, let me start that again. The most dreaded of these human disease causers are the witches. Not that their activities and the results of these are very much different from those of the man-killers. The latter, however, only work against us for very sound and obvious reasons, e.g. because we have insulted them, poked fun at them, quarreled with them, or have given them offense in one way or another. At worst, when trying to kill us, they may act as agents of some enemy of ours. At any rate, there is usually this comforting consideration about it, that we are aware and conscious of the motives of their activities, and that usually we have only ourselves and our conduct to blame. Being careful and courteous in our dealings with man-killers may considerably diminish the risk of being harmed from their quarter. Moreover, counteracting their evil machinations is not so hopeless a task as to fight witchcraft. The witches are usually referred to as siktli, or a Cherokee phrase meaning, quote, they walk about during the night. The meaning of siktli is literally hooting owl. But since this night bird is considered as a bird of ill omen, and because of the mysterious occult powers ascribed to it, moreover, because it indulges in its activities only during the night, as the witches do, the word has been extended to mean witch.
Again, 1932, James Mooney, The Swimmer Manuscript, Cherokee Sacred Formulas and Medicinal Prescriptions. I mean, it comes back to what we were just saying. I mean, it seems like it's just saying, be nice, hate to love, all that good stuff. Yeah. When we talk about, Bigfoot showing up one time at that campsite, give your grandfather tobacco. It just kind of hung out with them.
Right. The story you tell your kids at night. Again, it's the bogeyman. It's the be nice and be good and, follow the rules or the monster gets you.
Yeah. And if you're courteous to these things, if you're in a good state of mind, and in some ways, if you're a little bit, back offish, it seemed to work with Logan and you with your story. You had a little bit of chutzpah going on.
Oh yeah, we kind of once we realized what was going on, we were like, "Screw you, dude."
But it wasn't. Yeah, but again, generally it's courteous.
Episode 18: Fear and Logan in Las Flagstaff.
But at the same time, usually courtesy and offerings are going to be better than that. But if you show a little bit of that, but in a way that's, we know what you are, right. Move along. Right. I think that's probably another approach.
Right, because I think it's like you did them wrong before. It's like when they're actually coming at you, doing them wrong, what does it matter? They're already coming at you.
Yeah, and on that note, for my best of friends, I'm bringing the Beatles. So they're going to sing that song, Love, which I think is kind of the best defense ever. Kidding. It's Bruce Willis eating the flesh of the owl served by the Chinese dye monk, which, as we learned last week, makes the unbreakable, the undrownable.
Yep.
You have broken the segment. Invincible. We never need to talk about the Dream Team Best Defense again. Thank you, Jeremy.
It was
we never got a bumper for that, so I guess you don't even have to make one now. Well done.
Okay.
Did you ever make there's no Best Defense bumper for this, right?
No, I didn't. I never thought of a bumper.
No, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I
broke it.
And I broke it with Unbreakable. Did you see what happened there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like a double. It's terrible what you did.
Yeah.
I don't think we should be celebrating this at all.
Well, that only works for Owl Week though. Like after Owl Week, it's back on.
Okay.
Because it's just him drinking the blood of the owl.
Yeah, but you made the unbreakable, undrownable. I don't think it. I think you could use that.
It is like
even
cheating.
Against Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris. I think it tops. I don't know.
You can't beat him, dude.
No.
His only weakness is drowning, and I made him impervious to drowning. Yeah. You can't get better than that.
No, you broke it. And I really do mean Mad Cujos for that, which we probably gave you already.
Can we give Bruce Willis Mad Cujos?
No, we're giving you Mad Cujos for making the unbreakable undrownable.
I'm getting more Mad Cujos?
I might have done this, or did we do this?
That's awesome.
Already?
Mad Cujos for me.
Down boy!
That's 2 in 1 episode. I didn't even know that was a thing.
We do have a worst defense. We've done 2.
No, I mean for me though.
You got 2 today?
Yeah.
Why?
I gave myself one earlier, and now
Oh,
you just gave me
come
one.
on. Why did you give yourself one?
I don't even remember.
I didn't listen. I didn't hear it.
It's been a long time.
If
I
I
don't
didn't hear
remember.
it, it didn't happen. But the worst offense, if it whistles, don't whistle back. That's bad idea genes. Again, shooting it is supposed to literally backfire mechanically on you. This whole thing kind of reminds me of that Tupilak Scandinavian Lappish thing, which, we will get to shortly. But this from Otherworldly Oracle.
Kind of reminds me of the Corsican brothers also.
Yeah, there you go. This will be in the show notes, by the way, otherworldlyoracle.com. I suspect Lechuza might have once been a positive figure since mutated by the church, as usual. We got that effect. Here's another theory. Cassandra Yorgi of Exemplar News floats one idea that the harpy has its origin in large owl sightings because the face of some owls is almost human-like and their wingspans are sometimes immense, as we discussed in Big Hoot, some species topping 6 feet.
I mean, the real-life harpy, kind of looks like a humanoidish owl, and it's huge.
Yep.
Every time I see a picture of one of those things, it's like, whoa.
Yep. Similarly, this may explain the origin of Lechuza as well, but let's not harpy on that. We'll move on. Mythical, anthropological, we go very in-depth mythic in relation to owls and Clellan's work next time that I run the episode. More to come, and it's pretty fun stuff, if you're a true power nerdalist, at least, anyway. Consciousness theory-wise, again, back to that, I mentioned it before, Portal Guardian archetype. There's this connection between Lilith, or more accurately, her Mesopotamian counterpart, Lilitu, an owl-headed demoness, and vampirism, and infanticide, and a general hatred of men and revenge. Some say Lechuza maintains some of these family values as well, so I think there's a connection.
It does sound moralistic in its way.
Owls seem to be prominent archetypes and portal guardians for life, death, growth, arrested development. These things are portends or warnings for endless dark night, spiritual crisis, and much, much more. And we'll talk about that again moving forward. Mm-hmm. The shamanic shapeshift complex. I have to mention this. You can't go Owl Week without some of this mojo from me. There's a connection between owls and shamans, of course. We can't skip the shaman connection. We try. Shaman, I think, equals owl. I didn't find that piece again, but I'm still looking for it. Owls have 30-to-1 rods to cones in their eyes, making it easier for them to see in the dark than human beings. We've discussed on this podcast, common shamanic trait is to be able to see in the dark. Shamans are even named after this ability. Clever Man in Australia. Endless other regional shamans we've already mentioned have this kind of connection between those who see in the dark is kind of their name, because that's what they see, what is normally not seen.
Right.
Also in the work of G. Haight, 1919, Notes on Reindeer Nomadism, which was our, I've mentioned before on this podcast, I found a story of a man whose house was searched and they found stone image with owl eyes and some bits of a cactus and bits of an owl at this altar, which was enough to convince local authorities that the man was practicing witchcraft. And that's in the show notes. According to Michael Harner, Native Americans and Mexicans have only 2 things they designate as inherently evil. Do you want to guess? It's not tequila rabbits, by the way. They're okay.
Oh, man.
I think we discussed this already. I always feel like sometimes this comes out.
Hit me.
Owls and peyote are the only 2 that from one shamanic standpoint, only one. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say this is universal, but Michael Harner found this in his book. This is in Harner Shamanism. It will be...
Owls and peyote are evil? Yeah. According to these guys?
This one group, according to Michael Harner, this one group of Native Americans designated the only 2 things as inherently evil as being the owl and peyote. But we're going to redeem the owl. Don't worry. So don't panic.
Peyote makes you completely insane.
Yeah.
It's a weird one.
But here's a quote that ties the owl and the shaman together into a nice, neat bow, but never try that with a giant owl. Here's a quote from Vision Gallery, and it'll be in the show notes. Ties the owl shaman into a nice bow. Quote, psychoactive plant brew known throughout the Amazon for its powerful healing and visionary properties. Ayahuasca has been used for millennia by South American shamans to divine the future, journey to the spirit world, and induce healing. The great owl guards the shamans while they are curing. Owl medicine includes prophecy, wisdom, stealth, silence, intuition, clairvoyance, clairaudience, shape-shifting, and keen vision that can pierce all illusion. Call upon owl to unmask and see what is truly beneath the surface. That's in Owls in Norse mythology.
That all tracks.
Yeah. Yeah, again, it's seeing in the dark. Seeing in the dark.
Did you know that colorblind people see better in the dark than normal color-sighted people?
Yeah, I have a little color blindness. You probably do.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, see, it explains a little bit about us that we just learned right now. So, and here, this brings us to one of our last readings from archive.org. Covers the account of how Isaac Tens became a shaman.
30 years after my birth was the time. I went up into the hills to get firewood. Then it grew dark towards evening. A loud noise broke over me. A large owl appeared to me. The owl took hold of me, caught my face, and tried to lift me up. I lost consciousness. As soon as I came back to my senses, I realized that I had fallen into the snow. My head was coated with ice, and my blood was running out of my mouth. I stood up and went down the trail, walking very fast, with some wood packed on my back. On my way, the trees seemed to shake and to lean over me. Tall trees were crawling after me, as if they had been snakes. I could see them. At my father's home, I fell into a sort of trance. Medicine men were working over me to bring me back to health. When I woke up and opened my eyes, I thought that flies covered my face completely. I looked down, and instead of being on firm ground, I felt that I was drifting in a huge whirlpool. My heart was thumping fast.
That from a shaman's notebook, Primitive and Archaic Poetry, arranged by Jerome Rothenberg. That will be in the show notes.
You got your whirlpool reference mixed in.
Owls, whirlpools, whistling. I'm not, I'm using, sometimes, yes, I'm drawn to these, but I wanted the shamanic piece. The initiation of this has all these elements. Hancock actually covers Isaac Tens as well in Supernatural, the same thing. And he thinks this whole initiation kind of mimics an abduction scenario, which again mimics what we're talking about in Cleland next time, which again overlaps with whistles and whirlpools and all this fun stuff. I don't know why it's always like this. I don't know why more people don't mention this. I know we say that a lot, but these themes are there, folks. Yeah. Period.
I'm building one hell of an Ahu guano theory right now, Moz. Let me tell you.
We're building one hell of an Excel spreadsheet, which is why we need an intern, by the way. But this also reinforces the shaman gone bad theme, which is a crucial aspect of the Wendigo, not necessarily a shaman, but there's a connection with the skin
walkers,
as well as this seems like possibly just another shaman, none of the skin that a shaman could don when they go stalking the res at night. There's Ook and Padub, but there's an insatiable hunger associated with Lechuza, which puts them more in the female Wendigo camp, back to what Monstrum was talking about. But they have the shaman connection as well. People of power go south, or more accurately southwest in this case. And when it's a woman, it harkens back to the terrible mother from global mythos, the owl. It's also been a close tie-in to... Go ahead.
That's a great title, The Terrible Mother.
No, The Terrible Mother is back. It's actually an archetypal theme back to Eric Neumann and Carl Jung, and they talk about the good aspects of the nurturing mother and then the terrible mother, which is the devourer. Right. It comes back to those themes that we keep coming back to at the beginnings of all origin myths, and at the beginnings of all origin myths are also the trickster and the monster.
Right.
But there's also always been a close tie-in to storms with these things. The creation of thunderstorms and beings of power seem to have this link that we keep coming across. The Thunder Shaman of Chile, and I've come across gazillions, actually. ParanormalAuthority.com, I think we mentioned once before, speaks of an old Texano tale that Lechuza is linked to unusual thunderstorms. But this link from these owl women, quote, "No one knows why stormy weather is so deeply tied to these witches, or why it's linked to birds." If you listen to the episode 1, you know why. because, again, owls are connected to weather and its forecasting nearly globally. Clearly, a shamanic rain dance thing is also going on as well. It's interesting that good shamans have a rain dance, but all beings of magic all along the Hermetic pole, from love to hate, hate to love, seem to have this ability. So shamans can do rain dances. These owl shape-shifting women can forecast weather. Whether they can create storms is another question.
Wow, great connection, Moz. There's something to think on.
Well, I think it is odd. I'll say that.
That is odd. They forecast the weather. Well, yeah, their counterparts are making it rain. That's interesting.
But I do want to defend the owl a little bit here. And the Great Spirit doesn't create any truly evil creature, even though we've talked about all the evilness of the owl in the last few weeks. When we get to yeks, when we get to totems, owls, like any animal, can be a powerful totem. Yeks, Eiklas, all those other names we've come across for the shaman's familiars, and they're helper spirits at the end of the day. The owl seems to me to be the perfect match for the shaman. It almost, seems archetypal. It's generally associated with the underworld, but it has wings, so it can fly to the upper world. And it seems almost like it's the most mysterious, less talked about totems, much like the shamans themselves. Secret.
Yeah, that's the thing about those Charons, the ones that bring the souls back and forth between the living and the dead lands. They hold the power, man. It's they're propped. They walk between the worlds, I guess is what I'm trying to say. They're the ones, because you get these spirits that are in their realm, and they can affect other realms from there, but they don't really travel back and forth like that so much. You know what I mean? When you get these guys that, mythos-wise anyway, physically and spiritually and whatnot, they literally travel between these realms. That's a very special kind of power. Not a lot of things do that. That's
the psychopomp, and we talked about even I think it was Ojibwa, where they're putting owl and the otter as the spirits along the way to the underworld, and a lot of other stories talked about the owl being the leader. One of them, the owl was actually the bridge to the underworld. You're walking over an owl bridge itself. You can't get kind of clearer than that.
Yeah, that's pretty direct.
Yep, and it's true. that the medicine man seems to be. And there's another defender of the owl I came across, by the way. It's Janus, I believe, but it's spelt Genius Z. There's a thesis on the Anishinaabe tribes that settled in the Great Lakes regions of North America. The owl has a different connotation. That's not the helper spirit, but the actual spirit double of the shaman, him or herself. Maybe just a different emphasis, but it harkens back to our work on doppelgangers. There's one story the Janus studies where the gukuku is essentially an owl-shaped curse. So when they hear the sound, they call the shaman, who believes it's bad medicine in this case, more specifically a jealous neighbor. So they go out and hunt the thing, find it, and shoot it. But those who saw it describe it as not real, but resembling just the skin of an owl stuffed with medicine.
Oh, that takes me back again to they found the woman's body slung over the tree limb. You know what I mean?
No, this is like an animal. This is like a taxidermist nightmare. It's like this is more like a tupalak. We've got this owl stuffed with medicine, and people see this thing flying around, and when they catch it, it's more like just this voodoo doll that was flying around messing with people.
Whoa, okay.
And we're going to get into a story of that. But
it's like a golem or something.
Yeah, well, in a way, yeah. So that was from Janus, Gukuku owls and their role in Anishinaabe culture. We're going to do, this comes from Janus, Gukuku owls and their role in Anishinaabe culture, University of Wisconsin, again in the show notes. Brings us to Jeremy's last reading.
The man noticed that whenever he was in the woods, a gukuko would swoop ahead of him and sit on a tree limb. When he caught up to the gukuko, it would fly farther ahead, always staying on his right. He shot the being, and it fell to the ground. He says, quote, I ran up to it and stepped on it. A noise like a human cry came from it 3 times. It looked at me with its 2 eyes wide open and died. I stooped to pick it up. There was nothing there except the hide and feathers. I took these home and burnt them. After that, I never failed to get deer. 2 or 3 days after I shot the owl, the medicine man took sick. He asked to see me, but I wouldn't go. 4 days after that, he died. That medicine man had taken the shape of an owl and injured my hunting. Huh.
We have another one that brings it home. This is Zachary Rempel's thesis. His work captures the essence of this kind of chapter of Tupelaki, voodoo-y stuff going on. Quote, that beings can disguise themselves like owls is a feature of metamorphosis as expressed in traditional Anishinaabe thought, where beings and spirits may readily change their shape in the environment. What may appear as a common owl may in fact be a being or a spirit disguised as an owl, sent by a malicious actor. In traditional culture, owl skins can be dried, hollowed, and stuffed with medicine, and sent to others to curse them. That again from Rempel Zachary and Anishinaabe Ethno-Ornithology. That will be in the show notes as well. But again, we're talking about the same things we're talking about. Shamans fighting shamans with strange Tupelaki voodoo-y like stuff. If you missed that side trail, we do a whole thing on the Arctic version of this. The Tupelak. So again, it sounds all like the same type. Witchcraft seems to be sorcery, seems to be witchcraft, seems to be sorcery.
It's shaman all the way down.
Turtles all the way down.
Yeah, it's shaman all the way down in Ma's world.
But again, in some of the old accounts, Lechuza triumphantly returns as a being of power. And in those tales of returning to the community, she is not evil. Often she is a powerful shaman. Like Quokka, who returns from the land of the otters with knowledge in that Tlingit Kushtaka folklore we talked about.
Episode 24.
Or Sergeant Quokka, the big toe, if you remember that joke from that episode. Stripes. Sergeant Quokka.
Oh, yeah, Stripes. There you go.
There's a Hopi version wherein the owl takes the child back to an owl cave, where the child transforms into an owl and is found by hunters. Kind of in a therianthropic state again. We've seen that before. There's a Passamaquoddy tale that pertains to an owl who abducts an adult woman, much like all those Pacific Northwest counterparts that we talked about. And some tribes believe a woman like this returns each generation with the knowledge of the owls, which is then conveyed to the people. Here's...
See, and again, it's helpful. You know, they're filling a role in things. Right. I actually have a very different view of owls than I thought I would after this. It's pretty cool.
Well, this part kind of captures it. Again, this is Janusa's 2008 thesis, be in the show notes. According to Kiwanakwe, having some owl traits can be considered a great asset. She says that there have been Anishinaabe with these traits and other skills learned from the Gokuku. Kiwanakwe says that in approximately every other generation, there is a person born, quote, with copper-colored hair and green eyes. The heads of these persons are remarkably ambi-oriented. These individuals glide when they walk, their eyes dilate to see in the dark, and they are wise beyond their natural years. The Anishinaabe say that in these individuals, the spirits of the girl who was taken by the Gokuku and the Anishinaabe man she married return to encourage the people. And that was from a sound recording. That's kind of a class lecture with someone relaying this account of this owl woman returning.
That has very Star Child sort of implications.
Yeah.
Your generational Star Child.
Yep. And I think the whole thesis of Janusa's work is really to kind of, redeem in some ways the owl, and I think she did a wonderful job with this. And I'd like to give my official Mad Cujo. Actually, can I give Mad Cujos so big that it takes away like other Mad Cujos that have already been mentioned this episode?
You want to negate mine? Is that what you're saying?
No.
You can try. Yes. Give it a shot and see what happens.
Okay. You played a little louder.
Mad Cujos.
And that is to Gugukuku owls and their role in Anishinaabe culture, University of Wisconsin. I think that would be in the show notes as well. That would definitely be in the show notes as well. But again, I'm trying to get to the point of these hermetic poles, and you kind of touching on this. You've been going lowest vibration. We have Lechuza going out and avenging and killing and stalking and terrorizing. Medium crossroads, we have most of what we talked about. Women turned into owls as punishment, or child abducted for unknown purposes, or giant monster owls in general, kind of in the middle of this. But the higher level, we find these beautiful stories of these kind of owly sattvas in a way. Another creature teacher is showing up. Each generation, every other generation, a woman is transformed into an owl and returns. And it's the story of the return of all those women who were treed, who were sent back to the owls, who never made it back, who had hybrid children. One of these returns, to kind of teach the tribe as kind of this being of power.
Now you're making me think back to the Yeti episode in the Banjekri.
Exactly.
If
Another
you don't
creature
pass the
teacher.
test, you get eaten by the bear woman. But if you pass, you return to your people as their next shaman.
Yeah, and we even had a thing with the Sawasi beings with Mertz's study. I didn't go into this, and I don't think I ever kind of circled back to it, but I kind of felt like these bush beings were little dwarfy creature teachers.
Yeah.
And I told you that, and we talked about that in the episode. I found in Samantha Hearn's work of Sharon Mertz has another study, and she exactly describes the Sawasa beings as kind of these little creature teachers. And living with these folks, she was kind of like, they're wandering off into the woods, they're acting strange, they come back, they seemingly with knowledge.
Yeah.
So even anthropologists are kind of scratching their heads a little bit at what it means to be dealing with some of these places. Again, she calls from the invisible places of the world.
Do you
the
think
less visible places of the world?
Do you think Mr. Paulides would do himself well looking into this angle? Maybe does this have some? Oh, excuse me, Paulides. I never know how to pronounce his name.
Yeah,
I've heard it both ways.
I don't know either.
But
Maybe I'm wrong.
The missing 411 stuff.
Yeah.
People go into the woods and don't come back. Could that just be owls?
Well, creature teachers are they disappearing and being returned later as with knowledge, or are they failing again with the Banjekri? You're meeting Mr. Monkey who's going to teach you, or if you're failing, you're meeting Mrs. Bear who's going to eat you. And that's where the really Berenstain Bears come in, which are really Berenstain, which is the Mandela effect. Oh boy, we better stop.
Oh boy. Yeah, let's not go down that road now.
Oh boy. My Kraken teacher, I guess. We'll talk about that next time. But that brings me to my Ahuguano file.
Oh, you're okay. Ahuguano theory of the week. Oh no, here it comes.
Quick, to the batshit signal.
I kind of set up the owl as archetype, the owl as super yek or totem in this episode. For any being of power among the darkest of creatures, that creature teacher pulling back from the light the furthest could come back potentially with the most power. Also ties in a lot, like I've been saying all along, with Clellan stuff, hint of things to come. But I think if it's dark enough, if we're talking about an owl during a batshit segment, so with bat and owl, we're really dark.
Bat squatch overlap
It's
again.
bat squatchy.
Camazotz is flying around.
Gets kind of bat squatchy.
Yeah.
But to come back from that darkness, I think, could be perhaps the more powerful creature teacher. And I'm going to, in further episodes, I'm going to talk about why I think the owl totem might really be the balm.
Opening your eyes to the darkness can give you new perspectives.
Yeah. If you go all the way to the darkest regions and you come back.
True darkness, yes.
You've seen it all. Which brings me, do you have an Ahuguano file?
You've
been working on it.
I'm building one. I'm going to withhold for the moment, and I'm going to drop it on you at the end of next week where we conclude this owl week.
Are you intending to break our Ahuguano file like you did the best defense segment? Nice.
I might. This is going to get crazy. It has layers.
Does it involve Bruce Willis by chance?
Nope.
Okay, good. That's a good sign. So.
But there will be some celebrities involved.
Nice.
That's all I'm telling you.
So that brings us to Sir Richard Scullymuggle's Skeptics Review.
Oh.
You're full of crap, and that's the nicest thing that I can say.
I think it's safe to say, that they're not going to believe large owls or owl shapeshifters or that these hybrid things or any of these themes we keep coming across since the dawn of time have any meaning or relevance to our lives. I think that's what they'd say. And I think they're wrong.
Bastards.
I think they're wrong. But
I think they're very wrong.
Yeah.
But you're right. That's what they would say.
Exactly.
They're just owls, right?
yeah,
They're just owls.
I know. I think hybrids are important.
We are anthropomorphizing owls to see something that is not there.
All these therianthropes are important, like Catwoman. I mean, Gotham wouldn't be the same without her.
Right? And Batman.
Yeah.
Episodes
Yeah,
12 and
Batman.
13, if you want to know where Batman came from.
Back to Catwoman.
Did I say that already?
Back to Catwoman. Michelle Pfeiffer or Halle Berry?
Oh, God.
The answer is yes.
Yes. I've never actually considered. That's a really tough choice.
Yeah. We asked the hard questions here at
Because,
MLT.
like, every aspect, it's hard to decide.
Did you stretch that first syllable of aspect out a little bit? A little bit too long. Yeah. Which brings us to the Us Files.
Oh.
But then something happened. It happened to me.
We're doing an Us file?
I was going to
I
say...
thought we were saving that for another episode.
I was going to say there's none because we have a whole Owl Us File.
Yeah,
But
like there's a whole episode of these coming up, aren't there?
Exactly. But coming up, it's related to Lechuza, but you be the judge. So there is a Lechuza-esque one coming up as well.
In our Us file?
I think so.
A
So
Lechuza
I'll try to tie it back in. And there, I mean, there's a more. It's kind of our Us Files is. People are gonna at this point. This is the episode that people are gonna say, "What is happening?"
Yeah, it's going to get crazy.
It's going to get a little crazy, and some of them are things that happened 20 years ago, and some most of the Us File, besides my big story of the Owl people, happened in the last year and or last few years, and some in preparation for this whole.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild season for MLT, man. After Owl Week, I'm doing the panspermia. That's going to get weird, and then we're going to dive back into the owls for a minute, and yeah, we got a lot of crazy stuff coming this season.
But we swear that tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Oh yeah,
So help me Godzilla.
absolutely, 100%.
Weird stuff did in fact happen.
Yeah.
And the build up to some of this stuff, and we have other witnesses. It's not just us.
That's the thing. We have,
Yeah.
it's like almost all our stories have outside verification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not all of them. I've listed
but
all of them.
A lot of them.
Yep.
Most of them.
Yep, I agree. Which brings us to our Wolfman.
Ooh, Wolfman Puck's Cryptid Culinary Corner.
Your entree, sir. Smells good.
In honor of both Big Hoot and Lechuza, I'm making Cuban sandwiches with a side of plantains, of course. In honor of Lechuza herself, who is often seen in Texas, I'm going to make them supersized kind of Cuban sandwiches served on Texas toast, kind of a Tex-Mex hex mishmash. And we're washing down those with a rum drink I call Owljitos, a concoction that may or may not turn you into an owl. Yeah. Whoa. Or if you would prefer a beer, I will also be serving a brew from Lechuza country, namely East Austin, Texas, Blue Owl Brewing. There is a place out there I've not been. So with the blue part, it's more like a Striga, and they have a beer called, not making this up, because you cocaine bared me.
Oh, no.
It's called Kokomo Royale. But I will be serving that label just to incite further annoyance from my podcast part. So I wrote this before you made the dumb cocaine bear joke, and now I'm ready with a Kokomo Royale joke that I just realized now.
You pre-prepared revenge
Yeah,
on
I'm
me.
always gonna have one kind of in the holster, kind of, and I'm only gonna use it when I need to.
Well, that just makes me glad I cocaine bared you earlier then.
I would have done it anyway. You're due.
Oh boy. So that was pretty good, man. That's hard. That's hard to come back at. Oh, I know what I'm going to make. I'm going to go out. I'm going to collect all those bunch of those guts off the tree limbs and clean them out and prep them and make myself some tripe stew.
Nice.
Yeah, from the guts.
It's good because I'm kind
hanging
of
in
sick of
the
your tripe,
trees.
so that's perfect.
Yeah. And for my beverage, I'm gonna get some more of that owl's blood so that you can never drown, because I've got to go see my octopus friends again.
Oh, yeah, my Kraken teacher.
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah.
You know, I was honestly thinking while we were talking.
Well, you know, I got to get in. I
could have done.
I got to get into the Cthulhu's good graces before they rise again.
There's no good graces with Cthulhu, really. You're either mad or you're dead. I mean,
right.
You know,
I'm hoping they'll allow me to be mad.
Nah, then you can just keep going. Actually,
Yeah.
keep being you.
Yeah, I'm halfway there already.
No, what I was just thinking is you could have done the dead dried owl and stuff it with whatever you want.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I didn't think of that.
Get the owl skin that's hollowed out like the voodoo doll and stuff it with the guts and cook it.
No. Yep. There you go.
That would have been better. I missed it.
Yeah.
You totally won that one.
Yep. Well, the first time for everything.
Yep.
And you didn't break that segment yet. Way to go. So.
Yeah, that segment tends to break me more than I tend to break it.
Yeah, no, I hear you. No, you started off really strong in season 1. Like, you just came up with stuff.
Yeah.
So you might have to start thinking ahead.
I have my moments.
I wouldn't go that far. That's all I got for this one. You have any final questions, young man?
Not really questions, but you actually did give me a lot to think about. Some of this is going to affect the panspermia episode I'm writing.
And your sleep.
Yeah, and like just my whole perspective on all this, because I really thought I was going to have a much different perspective on the owl thing than I do. I find it a respectable cryptid at this point, and like that they have the moral code. It's almost like they're the Asgardians watching over us or something on a certain level. It's interesting. I thought they were just going to be scary creature type stuff, but I feel like, the whole portal guardian thing, I think shown through real strong in this.
But the fact that it doesn't, but it's there. I really think people, we talked about this in the Mythos one, they block out the owls. Why there's no science fiction fantasy about it? I mentioned the Mercedes Lackey series, but generally, even when we talked about this too, we find Mothman, we find an owl man, we call it Mothman. We don't even want to discuss the owl.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's not, it's blocked out. It's subliminally blocked out. We can't discuss it because I think it could be the best totem for the shaman, and that is my theory. It's
like we have an inherent subconscious mix of fear and respect for the owl.
Fear and Logan
and Last Flagstaff. Yeah. But and it's an interesting mix because we do fear it in a way. You know, it is a monster to us, and a lot of societies push that angle of it. But at the same time, it keeps shining through here is they're there for a reason.
Yeah. Great Spirit doesn't make any evil animals.
Yeah, and they do they command...
Or evil only.
Yeah, they command a certain level of respect. The parliament thing and the court thing.
Yeah.
And they hold court.
Yeah.
Over what's going on in their realm. Like, there's respect in that.
Yeah.
Which is maybe why we don't mess with them in all these stories, because we have too much respect on top of the fear.
Yeah.
In
Isaiah, God kills the unicorns and man. He leaves the dragons and the owls and the ravens. He leaves the owls kind of in charge, not the dragons.
Right.
The dragons seem like they would be in charge but they're not.
Dragons are just hoarders, man. They're lazy hoarders.
Yeah.
They're big and scary, but they just want to fill a mountain with gold and sleep on it.
Yeah. God felt similar to you.
The owls are out in the world making stuff happen.
That's right.
Happen.
That's right. They're moving stuff. They're maybe the tricksters. I did find a raven trickster from Siberia, but there's also owl implications for that as well. Talk more about that stuff in Trickster, but it does seem like the owl is at the crossroads, the trickster's at the crossroads, the monster's at the crossroads.
Yeah.
Hecate is at the crossroads.
Yeah. It's like all the outliers kind of thing.
Yep.
But all right, we're going to wrap this up. We got one more official week of Owl Week next week. And then...
No, 2 more. We've got Us Files and we've got Mike Clellan's work.
Well, yeah, that comes later, though.
Oh.
Owl Week is 4 in a row, and then it's 2 panspermias, and then it's our Halloween episode, and then we get back into the owls.
Gotcha.
So officially, Owl Week will be concluding next week. There will be follow-ups to it later. So our first venture into the week world, as it were, our answer to Shark Week, we use owls. which are way cooler, by the way.
Yep. As it turns out.
But yeah, before you go, if you could please hit those happy little fun buttons on whatever platform you're on, the like, subscribe, maybe share with some friends, things like that. Feel free to leave us some feedback in the form of a message, a rating, a review, all those sorts of things. Always helps to hear what you think of what we're doing. Check out our Patreon at patreon.com/monsterlore-tour. We are slowly but surely building our members area there, which is nice to see. We appreciate everyone who has joined so far and look forward to more. It's just $1 a month. It gets you early access to all of the episodes along with their corresponding side trails. So you can stay more current with the Monster Lore Tour, and, it's kind of like the VIP section, stay ahead of the public. Anything else to add or subvert before we go, Moz?
Nope, just remember, we solve some of this stuff coming soon. So Owl Week is just beginning. I don't agree with you. I think it's just beginning.
All right. Well, it never really ends, right?
Well, Best Defense ended thanks to you and Bruce Willis.
And now this episode ends. So until next week, we appreciate y'all following along with the Monster Lore Tour here. Until the next time, to all my fellow paranerdalists out there, have a good one. Can I just say first, I find it very ironic that a guy named Apuleius is a peeping Tom.
Wow.
Just needed to get that off my chest.
Bit of a wanker, that one.
Yeah.